Welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about the Webdocs forms management, and we're going to be discussing forms workflow creation. So today what I'm going to be covering is the process around routing a form around. So it's not only filling out the data in a form, it's also giving the capabilities to users to be able to route that form around through a process to get the rest of the information filled out and also reviewed, and then place that into the secure archive. So what we're going to be discussing now is the workflow process and how to be able to create those different workflows. In the process today, what we're going to be talking about and showing is the web-based designer for the workflows. So all the workflow is drag and drop. So you can drop your different forms inside of there. So you're going to see the what we call step palettes. We're going to be talking about the configuration panel, and then we're also going to be talking about the workflow steps, and then also covering and touching on preconditions inside of a workflow as well and what that means. So from a live demonstration standpoint, I'm going to start by logging in as a designer. I'm going to pull open an existing form I have. You'll see inside of here we have the forms design, as you've seen in other videos before this in the video series. And then we also have flow capability inside of here. So I built a flow for this one. And so if there's a new flow, you can actually just go create a new flow. Or if it's changing an existing one, you can come in here and hit the edit button, which is going to pop up in this panel inside of the web browser interface. This is where the different forms that you might have in that application that you can pull in. So it could be one form they're filling out, or it could be multiple kinds of forms they're filling out. In this case, it's just a single form they're filling out. And you'll see that I have a couple steps inside here, right? So how I started this one is by dragging and dropping this into the control panel over here, and then be able to configure, what users have access to this flow at this point or at this step. And then so I have an employee filling out the form, I have a manager reviewing this form, and I also have HR reviewing if required in this process. So in this process here, I can click on these different steps and add the different users to that, or different roles to those steps as well, and then have it flow through that process for review. Now, in some circumstances, a form might not need to be looked at by everybody. So what I mean by that is we can have preconditions on those forms. And a precondition can be set up with what we call the precondition rule builder as well. So we can actually create these different forms to basically say, okay, if something is filled out a certain way, we need to get HR involved. So if someone answers this question no, we're going to launch it into the HR workflow. If someone answers this question yes, we're going to bypass that workflow and just put that form into the archive at that point. So we can put these different preconditions on these different flows. We can also set up time escalations inside of here and notifications, step approvals and stuff like that. So an escalation all through the wizard, we can basically say, you know what, when this is submitted into a workflow, into a step, it has to be performed by a certain time within a certain time frame, and we can measure that in days, hours, and minutes. So we can actually process that. And if something is not met in that time period, we can then kick that through the workflow process and assign it to different people. Or if people are gone out of the office, those could be routed to someone else if it's not a role-based one. So we can actually do those different things inside of here. We can set reminders on conditions to basically say, if something is coming up to a certain amount of time, say you got 3 days, maybe over 1 day, or maybe at beginning of day 3, you want to set that reminder. We can also do those reminders at the steps as well. That was today's video on workflow creation for forms management. Thank you for your time.